We're going to compare fractions. Or put fractions in order. How? What do we need in order to do that? We talked about it. What did we need? Remember when we were putting the fractions and the decimals in order? What did we need in order to, when we made them decimals because we needed something else? You had your hand up. What were you going to say? Oh, okay, yeah. No. If we only had fractions and we didn't want to convert them into decimal and we want to put them in order, what do we need? We need a common denominator. What does that mean? Need the same number on the bottom. The bottom number has to be the same. Okay? You cannot compare fractions unless you have the bottom number the same. Okay? So, thinking about that and thinking about the words in like and unlike, what do you think a like fraction is? What do you think like fractions are? Fractions with the same denominator. They are like fractions. So if you have a fraction that has both 7s on the bottom, they're like fractions. Doesn't mean that they like each other, but it means they're like. So then what do you think unlike fractions are? When they have the uncommon, when their denominators aren't the same. So when you are comparing fractions, first check their denominators. When they have the same denominator, they're like fractions. For example, 6, 7, and 4, 7. They're like. When they're not, when they're different, they're called unlike. Now, that's not supposed to be there. So when we compare fractions, if they have the same denominator, all we need to do is compare the top numbers. And obviously 6 is larger than 4. That would be greater than. Here's what we're going to do. All right, next slide. Less than or greater than? Come on. Is it less than or greater than? What? How do I only have like 3 hands up? Is it less than or greater than? Brett. You mean less than? Yeah. Remember, less than looks like an L that's like been squished. Okay. Less than or greater than? Meredith. Less than. We got our deflated L. This is really hard. This is super complicated, isn't it? I know. You guys are all lost. Less than or greater than? Greater than. That way. When we compare unlike fractions, we have to rename the fractions so they have the same common denominator. It's called finding a common denominator. So we basically have to find an equivalent fraction. So when we have a problem that looks like this, Ray, he's got 2/3 cup of nuts. He needs 3/4 cup of nuts to make cookies. Oh, man. Do you guys like nuts in your cookies? I don't. I don't. Unless they're like those white macadamia nuts and you have like white chocolate chip cookies, then those are good. Then those are good. But, you know, I'm over at a party, I'm like, see some cookies, I grab one, take a bite. Oh, nuts. I finished the cookie, though. I can't waste it. Can you? All right, so Ray, he's got 2/3 of a cup. He needs 3/4. We cannot compare those fractions unless we have a common denominator. So what we have to do is we have to find an equivalent fraction to get both of these to have a common denominator. And to me, the common denominator should be 12. Because 3 goes into 12, so does 4. So what do we want to multiply top and bottom here to get 12? 4 times 4 times 4. So we end up with 8/12. This one. We got to multiply top and bottom by what? Rosie. 3. Very good. Thank you. Okay. That gives us 9 over 12. This is what he has. This is what he needs. Let's answer the question. Does he have enough? No. Because he has 8/12, he needs 9/12. Me personally, I'd just throw the nuts away and just make the cookies without them. But that's... Ray doesn't like to go against the rules, I guess. Does he have enough? Big fat no. All right. Trevor. He's got 1/3 cup of soil. He needs 1/4 cup of soil. Does he have enough soil? Well, we got to compare them. 1/3, 1/4. What's our common denominator? Top and bottom by 4 here. 4 over 12. 3 here. 3 over 12. This is what he needs. This is what he has. Does he have enough? That's a big yes. It's a big 10-4. Okay. You're also going to be given questions like this. We got to put these in order. 4/5, 2/3, and 1/3. Now, 6th graders, here's what you guys like to do. You like to look at this stuff and you like to guess. Don't guess. Trust me. Don't guess. For some reason, you want to get it done, get the job done so you can move on to the next thing. You need to turn that portion of your brain off and turn the part of the brain on that says, make sure I get it right. Okay? Knock it off. Now, what we need to do is find a common denominator. We got 5s and 3s. Give me a common denominator. 15. Way to go. We have 4 over 5. Multiply top and bottom by 3 to get, we end up with what? 12 over 15. Okay? 2/3 times 5 times 5. We end up with 10 over 15. And we got 1/3 times 5 times 5. We end up with 5 over 15. So that means that 1/3 is my smallest because we got 12, 10, and 5. So 1/3. So this is number 1. 2/3 is number 2. 4/5 is number 3. Okay? Trust me. Some of these small ones you'll be able to guess and figure out. But I tell you what, there's going to be other ones like 7/12 and some of those that are really going to be close. And trust me, you're going to want to find a common denominator. So we got another one. Next one. 4/7, 3/4, and 1/4. Give me a common denominator. Brett, what's the common denominator? What's the common denominator? 28. 4 over 7. We got to multiply this by 4 to end up with 16 over 28. We got to take 3/4 times 7 times 7. 21 over 28. And then we got 1/4 times 7 times 7. 7 over 28. So our smallest one is 1/4. Our middle one is 4/7. How many of you guessed which one was the smallest? How many of you guessed this right probably off the bat? Because I'm pretty sure that you guys guessed. You looked at it. I think it's going to be this. Okay. Usually 1/4 is pretty easy, especially knowing you got 3/4 and 1/4. But this 4/7 and 3/4, they're not that far apart. Make sure you find your common denominator. All right? And honestly, that's all you're going to be working on for tomorrow. Finding common denominators, comparing fractions. So your homework, page 200. Numbers 10 to 44 even.